Hello, my name is Kathy Hebert. I'm a victim of physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. Every day I hear over and over again, sexual abuse, sexual abuse, sexual abuse, sexual abuse, and it breaks my heart. I know how painful this is. I know how destructive this is. I know what it does to your soul. It gets murdered. Children should not have to be going through this. But I'm not a survivor of sexual abuse. I'm a survivor of physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. And I've been told over and over again, it's not sexual, so it doesn't count. And I get to be abused all over again, just hearing that, yeah, I'm not worth it. Yeah, I got that. My parents worked really hard to teach me that I was not a very good person and good human being. But my story should be included, as well as a lot of other abuse survivors which didn't have that kind of sexual assault. I think when you're trying to learn your ABCs when you're 4 and you can't say them right and you wet your pants, when you've told your mother that you're going to wet your pants, and she grabs you and drags you down the hall, beating you all the way, opening up the cellar door and throwing you down the cellar stairs. And I'm here today because I caught myself on the railing before I hit the wall, which was a cement block wall. And one day she made me hot cereal, and I was 4. I don't like hot cereal. I've never liked hot cereal. But I had to eat it. And it was a bowl, not a little thing, right? So I ate it. Mommy, I'm getting sick. Eat it anyway. So I ate the oatmeal or whatever it was. And I threw up. If I had thrown up anywhere except in that bowl, I would not be here to talk to you today because I would be murdered. I knew about that all the time. I felt that way all the time. Nice little neat bowl of vomit. Now you can eat that. I gotta tell you, when you can eat vomit, you pretty much can do anything. Yeah. I sucked my thumb. My mother hated that. That was a bad thing. I made her look bad, even though I never sucked my thumb in front of anybody, ever. She tried tying socks on my hands. I chewed holes in the socks. She painted stuff called thumb on my hands. I sucked it off. I can still see the knife she was holding over my head one day. It was a pretty big knife. I know how to beg. I know how to beg for my life because I did that day. And she let it go. But then she caught me sucking my thumb one morning in my sleep. And the voice that she had was like nails on a blackboard. And I knew I was going to die. I can still feel that feeling. I knew I was going to die. And I come downstairs and I'm crying because I know my life is over with. I don't know what she's going to do. She's very creative. I sit down at the table. She grabs my little 4-year-old thumb and she puts it on the edge of the table, takes a pan that had been boiling eggs off the stove and lays it on my thumb. I can still hear it hiss. And when I looked up at her, "What are you doing?" She pulled my thumb back and put the pan on it again. I think that's called soul murder. And I want to know why people keep telling me it doesn't count, because it's not sexual. I want to know that. I've been ostracized from society my whole life because I'm afraid somebody's going to find out what a terrible human being I am. I loved my parents. I will always love my parents. They were sick. Some part of me knew that. But there was nobody there to help or protect me. There was nobody to talk to me, tell me it was okay. And now I'm an adult. I'm going to be 74 in a couple of months. And I keep hearing the same thing: sexual abuse, sexual abuse, sexual abuse, sexual abuse. It's not just sexual. I want the world to know that. And I think the reason we have such a hard time with that is because the people that are doing that kind of abuse are the people that we are born to. These are the people that are supposed to love us and care for us and raise us to be good human beings. They're not supposed to be sick. My father was just as cruel as my mother, and they supported each other. So they had a pact. Whatever one wanted to do was fine with the other. They didn't interfere. And then they sent me off to Catholic school for 12 years. They made me pay for my tuition, my books, my bus ticket, my uniforms. I went to confession once a month for 8 years in the grammar school. Went to confession, tell my sins. I had to make them up. I confessed that I sucked my thumb. I sucked my thumb until I was 13 years old. Apparently my mother gave up trying to reform me or whatever. Excuse me. And my very last confession in 8th grade, getting ready to go to high school now, and a priest, after going, we were in school for 9 months, Good Friday for 9 months for 8 years. And the very last time I go to confession, the priest finally tells me, I don't think sucking your thumb is a sin. I stopped sucking my thumb. A few days, few weeks after that, overnight. I've been in therapy for over 40 years. I'm still alive because I developed a belief system that said if I commit suicide, I'll have to come back and live this life again. There's no way in hell that I'm going to do that. If I live to be 500 years old and miserable as hell, I'm going to stay here as long as it takes. I've done my best to heal. I will continue to try to heal. But I'm afraid when abuse happens that young, we didn't have therapy back then. Libraries weren't available. There was no television, no radio. All my 30-year-old followers on Instagram, you're so sweet and wonderful, but you didn't tell anybody. People worked really hard to make sure their kids realized that they were worthless garbage. And I know now that people do that because they're projecting their worthlessness onto their kid. It's taken me 70 some odd years to learn that. My mother and father were fucked up. My mother and father's parents were fucked up. You had sex, you had kids. You didn't have food, you sent them off to work when they were 5 or 6 years old. That was just the way it was. That's not that long ago. I'm not talking in the 1600s. I was born in 1951. For me, that's not a really long time ago. I want people to know it's not just sexual. There's so many of me out there that can't talk about stuff because well, it's not sexual, so it doesn't count. Yeah, I want to hear that again. Why doesn't my abuse count? I was soul murdered. I will never be okay, all right? I mean, I'm okay with me being not okay. I'm an artist, perfect. I sing, I play guitar, I write. I wrote a book, a couple of books, right? I try to be nice to people. I take care of myself, but I'm still terrified to get close to anybody because they might find out how really awful I am. This is what abuse does to people. I thank you so much for allowing me to talk today. It's been a privilege and an honor. I hope it helps even just one person to understand you're not alone, okay? It's okay. We're okay, and we're going to be okay. We have to keep healing ourselves, working on ourselves. You gotta fight that abuse every damn day. Use your anger to survive. Not to hurt people, but to survive, to make yourself better, because I refuse to let what happened to me conquer me and stop me from being a decent human being. Be well, everybody. It's been an honor and a pleasure. I hope this helps. Thank you.